The purpose of this video is to review the changes that have been recently made to the NBDP system in our Microsoft Dynamics CRM software. The primary way that the NBDP works has really not changed much. We've made a few underlying changes to some of the fields and the way that we look at some of the information that we keep there. However, the basics of using NBDP inside CRM system have not really changed very much. When you open up CRM, whether it be through the web browser or through your Outlook, you would still go into the workplace and then into the NBDP section. When you click on here, you'll be brought up with a dashboard that should look familiar. At this point, you might notice the first major change that we did, and that is we have moved from a 12-phase system, which is how we previously had the -1 all the way up through phase 10, to a 5-phase system. So the first thing you will notice here is that all of the charts and graphs show that your NBDP existing opportunities have been moved to phases 1 through 5, and the charts have been updated to reflect that. So currently, anything that you had in there was moved, and a little bit later in this video I will show you exactly how the phases were moved from their previous phases into the new phases, what the mapping was for that. But basically this works exactly the same as it did before. From here, if you wish to go to see your own NBDP projects and edit them, you can do that with this button, just as you did previously. And if you wish to go to see either those for your site or for the region, you can use the appropriate buttons. Clicking on the button, of course, takes you to the view that shows you the NBDP records that are appropriate to that view, and you still have the same editable grid that allows you to update multiple NBDP records. Now, a couple of things that have changed here: there's a couple of new fields, and like I said previously, the number of phases have changed here, but they're really displayed in almost the same order, and we've actually taken away a few of the a few of the fields that weren't really being used by anybody. So this is actually a little bit cleaner than it was previously, with a couple fewer fields. And of course, any of these things can be changed by clicking into them and making the change, just like you did before. This really has not changed all that much, besides a couple of different columns. So to actually look at the different fields and some of the other changes that we made, I'm going to show you how you would add a new NBDP record, and from that form then we can see the differences in the way it's currently set up. So if I click from here on the Add New NBDP form, this will take me to the new form. And one thing that you'll notice here immediately is that there are big sections with field definitions. And one of the things that we really tried to do with the newer design is to make sure that a new person, or maybe somebody who hasn't been doing NBDP for a while, has a quick reference as they're filling in the form. What does the field mean? How do we use it? Making sure everyone's on the same page when we fill out these NBDP records. So for each section, you'll find project owner, for instance, and you'll find a definition for that field. And I won't go through all of those definitions today, but just be aware that you should see a definition, and if you're unclear as to what you should be filling in on any one of the fields, you can look just below the section that the field is in and find the definition. Now, for those of you who become accustomed to this and you understand those definitions, we did add an option here to hide them. So it kind of declutters the page a little bit and makes it a little bit faster to get down the page, so you don't have to scroll through those. From here, you can click this checkbox where it says Hide Definitions, and that allows you to make those disappear from the page and making it hopefully a little bit quicker for you to fill in the rest of the form. There are a few more required fields than you would have found previously on the NBDP, and that's because we're trying to focus again on what's important for NBDP. And so there's a couple of more required fields than there were previously, but there's still many that aren't. The idea with NBDP in general, though, is that the majority of those fields should be filled in at the time of creating the record. So as we look down through this, the majority of these fields are going to look familiar to you. I'm going to highlight a few that have been added or changed in some way. And I'm just going to go ahead and fill one of these in as we're working here. So I can choose the cluster that this is for. Now this would be whatever business that you're a part of. I set myself for this example as the Seals and Bearings North America, and the site. Previously this was something that was filled in automatically via a workflow after you had created the record. And we have allowed you now to actually change the site if necessary, and the reason being for that is that, of course, sometimes we have people that work with multiple sites and they need to be able to choose which site that the NBDP record is for, rather than having the system assign it based on who it was that created the record. The product site origin, that's one of them where there's actually a field definition change from what was previously there. So I'm going to unhide this and show you that the product site origin is one you might want to double check on. It's the site from where the product will be sourced. So if it's sourced from more than one site, please indicate that in the comment field in the description here. So just to make sure that you are clear on that, make sure that you read some of these definitions at least one time as you begin to use this again. If the view, when you're doing any of these lookups, doesn't show all of the sites that you're looking for, you can always change the view to the active sites. So I'm going to go down through the form. Just like always, you can search. I'm not going to fill in every field here just because you already most likely understand the majority of this, but I'm going to keep going down. I'm going to choose a customer, and I'll choose one of my test customers for this. Here we get to some of the new fields. So the opportunity phase, I've already mentioned, has moved through five phases instead of the previous 12 options that you had. Now, one thing to note on this drop-down list for the opportunity phase is that you'll see the 5 phases listed here at the top. And then there's definitions. We have added a field for project type. So there's commercial projects, technology projects, and engineering projects. And for each one of those different types of projects, the opportunity phase can mean a slightly different thing. So if you look in here, you'll see that phase 2 for commercial projects has a different definition than phase 2 for technology projects does. So you don't actually choose anything from anywhere below the definitions. You simply choose the phase 1 through phase 5 option that is the correct one for the phase that your project is in. However, we display these definitions here in this lookup to help make it easier for you to see which one you should choose. And then the project type, like I mentioned, are the 3 different project types here. The other fields that we have here are the same as they've always been, so you would just fill those out normally. We have also changed the previous field that you would have seen, which is similar to this one that now says NBDP, yes, no, had said something like including group marketing extract, yes, no. And that's been updated to just say, is this an NBDP or not? Because the idea here is that we have moved to one form for all opportunities for Morgan. So if it meets the description of NBDP, you would choose yes. And if it does not, but you still want to manage this as an opportunity, then you would choose the no option here. And then the remainder of the fields, I believe, are really the same as what you've had before. So there's a few changes, and but really the form works the same way. And if you see something that is missing that you used before and was valuable to you, please take that up with your business's NBDP manager, whoever's primarily in charge of that for your group, and have them bring that up to me. We've made some changes based on discussions internally, with the different businesses, but it could be that there will still need to be some changes or tweaks made to this process. So if you do see something that is missing or feel should be there and isn't, or need an explanation why, please bring that up with that person and have them contact me. I also mentioned earlier that I would show you how the opportunity phases were moved. So here is the mapping, and it's in the description fields in one of these descriptions for the opportunity phase. And so you'll see here that these were the old phases. So if you look, the old process, old stages grouped, we had the 0 through to 1, or I'm sorry, -1 to 0. Those moved to phase 1. Those that were in phase 1 to 3 are now currently phase 2. Those from 4 to 6 are now currently in phase 3. Those from 7 to 9 are now in phase 4, and phase 10 is an exact match over to phase 5. So that is how they were converted from your previous opportunity phase field. Again, and this was done automatically in the background, this change has already happened. If you find that you're thinking one might be in the incorrect phase, you can just change it to the correct phase. Or if you'd like to discuss that with me again, I'm more than happy to do so. And that's really the main difference on the NBDP form here that you'll see. There's a few fields that are missing. We've provided some clarity with definitions, and we have simplified our opportunity phase down to just those 5. Really, everything else should be about the same as you've been used to. So when you're finished, you can simply save and close, and that would save the opportunity. Now, one thing I would like to stress, just to take the opportunity here, I do recommend if you are creating a new NBDP record, you can do it from this editable grid as I showed earlier. And that works out just fine. That works well for you. You're welcome to do that. You also can start from the company record. So if you know which company it is that you're going to be looking at, and I'm just going to use this test company that shows up here in my list, I can open up the company record. And I liked the option of starting from here. I can go over to opportunities on the left-hand side and click opportunities, and that would show me any current open NBDP records or non-NBDP that I have available for this customer already. And from here, I can click the new NBDP button, and that will open up this new form for me. The reason I like this is because at that point I know that I'm on the correct customer. I've already searched for the customer and found them in the list. And so you'll see when I get down to the customer section here in the potential customer, it filled that in for me based on the customer that I started from when I did that. So it really doesn't matter. It's up to you which way you start your NBDP opportunities when you create a new one. That's just a suggestion that I have for you. If you have questions, please feel free to drop an email to me. This is Sean Stutzman. I'm in the Morgan directory and happy to help you with this if you have any questions. Otherwise, please contact your NBDP primary representative for your group, and hopefully they can help you, or if not, then they'll get in touch with me and find an answer for you.